So, yeah, at the beginning of this movie, there's like a hashtag home invasion right off the bat.
Yeah. But it's done like it's very intense because it's all first person.
Yeah, that was the most annoying shit in this movie for me, was the first person crap.
How come?
It's just annoying. I was like, when are we going to get to an actual movie here? This sucks. Anytime that first person is a movie, for the most part, it's just a gimmick. Like
I don't think so at all. I thought it made it way more intense. And like in this one, they actually put in blinks. Did you notice that? So you can actually see like blinking?
Yeah, it was like every second.
Yeah.
So the dude's like literally blinking his eyes all the time. I'm like, at first I thought it was blinks, and I'm like, no, this is just some bullshit effect they put in to like annoy the fuck out of me.
How often do you blink? You're like, I only blink
Not
once
every second. I'm not like, like what the fuck? I'm like going through a fucking house looking for bad guys, and instead of keeping my eyes peeled, I'm like, I'll see them better fucking half the time I'm out here, my eyes are closed. Hello, we're here.
Hello.
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 We're live.
How's it going?
Well, we're always live. Good. But we're in person.
We're always live until
That day. The fated day.
that special day.
That special day.
Yeah.
So the preamble. What are you up to?
Preamble ramble.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Just another week.
Just a manic Monday.
Yeah.
So what do you have anything to say?
How about those Bengals?
Do you have anything to say for yourself?
I'm sorry.
So what do we got going on here? We got the AFC champion hat. Hell yeah. We've got the West Virginia,
Just West Virginia.
Ruckersville, West Virginia.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I'm loving it.
Just like McDonald's.
Are you excited?
Yeah. Although I feel like the guy in that picture you sent.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah.
So it's like
Lifelong tortured Bengal fan.
Yeah.
It's like when you're like, it's like if the Texas Chainsaw Massacre guy like opens the door and it's like, you're free to go. And you're like, really?
Like really?
Yeah.
It was like for you that time Carlito won the championship belt. Oh wait.
I was like, oh yeah.
Damn.
Did he ever win?
I don't think so.
Yeah. That time that I thought that Santino was going to win the fucking...
No, I did too.
I thought he was going to win wrestle. He's like, I won the Royal Rumble. I'm going to WrestleMania. And I was like, dude. And then I was like, wait, they did this on a commercial so that he's not going to win.
Yeah.
God. That would have been so good.
We were stupid for even thinking that.
Yeah. It's like, I'm pretty sure it would have made them no money to have him win. But you can dream.
I mean, he did win the belt as a spectator.
Yeah,
First
that's
time
true,
ever.
yeah. A random dude came out of the crowd
totally
and beat Umaga. And I remember...
A random dude who somehow had a breakaway shirt that he was already wearing, but just coincidence.
Dude, I'm cracking the hell up, though. Carlito for tonight's Rumble confirmed. What? Holy shit.
Really?
There's a Royal Rumbles tonight, dude. Holy fuck.
I didn't even know he was around.
Yeah, I didn't either. That's awesome.
Well, I'll have to
Maybe
tune in.
Hurricane will be on there, too.
Yeah.
3 of my loser favorites. Hurricane, Carlito, and, what's his name?
Kane, the big red machine.
Yeah. There was another word for it.
He was your favorite, right? If you had to pick one.
Out of
all time.
I don't know. I mean, like, if I had to pick from those people out of all time, I'd probably say, like, I was really big on the Hurricane.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the most out of all those people. But he just got his ass beat all the time, so... I mean, he was, like, kind of a I guess I like all the comedy guys. Mm-hmm. Except for, like, Carlito was just doing, like, a Razor Ramon thing, where he was like, I'm cool, man. I'm going to spit in the face of people that don't want to be cool. I'm like, who the fuck doesn't want to be cool?
Yeah.
Like, people...
Like, I want to be lame.
Yeah. It's like... There are people that are lame, but they think they're cool. But, like, it's not like people get up in the morning and are like, man, I can't wait to be a lame ass. Oh, shit, he was just saying, hopefully. Yeah. I'm hoping. We know who is going to be on the Royal Rumble, though. Our boy, Jay Knoxville.
Is he?
Yeah.
Nice.
Johnny Knoxville for promoting Jackass Forever.
Coming next week.
Yeah. I guess this is a little bit of unsolicited nerd news.
Yeah.
But he's I guess Damme won like a fucking settlement, so they had to put him in the film, so
Really?
because they filmed some footage before he got kicked out, so like he's gonna be in the movie.
I wonder how much he'll be in, like one scene maybe or one stunt.
Yeah, I don't know, because like he's in none of the trailers, so I'm assuming it's like literally a couple scenes, like a couple stunts. Because
I haven't been watching the trailers. I want to go in fresh.
It's gonna be.
They'll
shit.
spoil the story.
It'll spoil the shit movie. But yeah, Jackass Forever coming out February 4th.
Can't wait. Yeah.
I want to see how long we could go without saying anything there. The silence was deafening because we knew. So let's see here. This is officially Matt Week.
Yeah.
So this is the first time. Well, what have you been up to then?
I knew it's been a good week. Matt Week.
Yeah. What have you been up to then? With your Matt self?
Just thinking about the Bengals.
Yeah.
Like, how can I focus on work when the Bengals are in the championship game?
Were you excited that it was Matt Week though?
Yeah.
You were like, fuck all this other shit. It's Matt
I'm
Week.
like,
yeah.
Matt Van Dam.
I used to do that shit in pictures like an idiot. Like whenever people would take a picture, I'd be like that. Everybody else was like, who the fuck?
Why is he acting like an ape?
Yeah, what is this idiot doing? And I'm like, it's me. It's like, no shit. Fucking he's in the picture. But yeah, I was just kind of like, this is the first time since we started Weird Watches that one of us has had both the Weird Watches and a movie pick be on the same week, so.
It's a good feeling.
It is?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
True power.
True power, that's true.
If only I can choose what we watch.
So this week we've got lined up for you Bill and Ted TV show from '92, and then we've got your Universal Soldier Day of Reckoning film.
Yeah.
But I guess before we get too much further into it, do you want to do our segment, Nerd News?
Nerd News? Yeah, man.
Okay. So Nerd News is here and live.
All right.
Are you excited?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you have to say?
Well, mine, you may already know about this, but it was news to this nerd. They're making a new Evil Dead game.
Yeah. They did like a trailer for that like last year sometime during E3. But like, did you just found out?
I just found
because
it just got delayed, and I saw Bruce Campbell announced on Twitter like it was delayed, and I was like, I didn't even know it was coming out. Like, this is great.
Yeah, it's pretty legit looking.
Yeah. He's doing the voice of Ash, and it was like an action kind of combat game.
It's like a 4-player like versus one. Like one dude controls the bad guys. Kind of like those games like Left 4 Dead or something where it's like or like I think there's probably a PvE mode too. I don't really know too much more about it because it was so early when they showed it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's like literally like Ash and his like people from his show and from the movies, like they can team up together. So like any allies that he's had in the movies and stuff. So be interesting. And it looked really good. Like the graphics looked really good too. It didn't look like shit, which is something that Evil Dead games are kind of known for, being horrible and looking horrible. So.
I think I've played all the games like on PlayStation 2, and
I
always thought they were good, but they were kind of lower quality. So.
Yeah, some of them were kind of boring too. It was like, what the fuck are you supposed to do in this game?
Yeah.
It's funny because there's like one part of my nerd news is that they just announced a sequel to Jedi Outcast or Jedi Fallen Order. So
nice.
They're for sure doing that by the same people that did the original. And they're also working on 2 other Star Wars games. It's like one's like an FPS from the people that made Medal of Honor, and the other one is like a strategy game from like the XCOM people.
Okay.
And I was like, it's nice to see, Star Wars games and stuff like that being done by people that are actually good. Otherwise, like they're like Battlefront made by EA, and it was like,
yeah, it was a long stretch where there weren't any good Star Wars games. So
it's like, good lord. And then the other thing was a quote recently by Ron Perlman here for Hellboy 3. Somebody asked him, what do you think about Hellboy 3? And he's like, am I eager to do Hellboy 3? No, I'm 71 fucking years old. But we owe this to the fans, and we should give it to them because it would be an epic conclusion. So Guillermo del Toro, if you're reading, get this fucking thing done! And I'm like, well, I would be down to watch it. Like, at this point, they would have to do, like, I'd be interested even, if it was like where they did like an old version of him and stuff, like Old Man Logan kind of thing. Like, I think people would be fine to watch anything with
totally
Hellboy back, because as much as I like the actor that was in the new Hellboy, like from Stranger Things, like that movie was pretty shit.
I didn't see it.
It just didn't have like because like Mike Mignola, the creator of the comic, was like, I'm taking this shit back and we're making it more like the comics, and everybody's like, I think it was better when like Guillermo del Toro did it.
Yeah,
because I mean like. Why would you... Guillermo del Toro is, like, a fucking master. Like, why would you... Of that, especially that kind of, like, stuff, too. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and Ron Perlman's still going strong. Like, he was the best part of that movie, Don't Look Up. Like, he was awesome in that.
He's like...
where he's shooting at the comet. He's like, bring it on!
The best part of fucking Aliens, that one, Alien, was it Resurrection or whatever? Where, like, at the end, he's like... It's like freeze frame, and he's like... Or no, that's the end of Hellboy 2. When he's like... I'm pregnant, and he's like turns around, and it's like, what the fuck? I always love movies that do freeze frames because it's stupid as hell.
Totally.
So I guess we're gonna have an announcement here for Recommendation Nation.
The final version, or final edition.
The final version. We've updated it.
The final edition of Recommendation Nation.
Cops
ding, ding, ding.
Fucking show up. So we were. I guess I kind of brought this up.
Retiring the segment.
Yeah, because like I was like, dude, I can't. I don't know. I can't keep coming up with like recommendations every week, but like, I feel like it's a segment that like we could get rid of and replace with something else, like you were saying down the line. But like, if one of us has like something we watched and want to talk about it, that's cool because it's our podcast. We do whatever the fuck we want. But like,
have to run it through corporate first.
We are corporate. Oh, shit. I'm like, I own this place. But you know what I mean? Like, know what I mean?
But how come I haven't been paid?
It's a non-profit organization. Well, for now. One day. Yeah. Like, did you have like a last recommendation?
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know. Okay.
It's a band that I know we're both big fans of. I'd say they're probably in my top 5 favorites. Genesis.
Oh, okay.
I was listening to Genesis like the other day. I just love it so much.
What's your other 5 then? Or your other 4, I guess?
Probably Beatles, Smashing Pumpkins, Dream Theater, Genesis. I guess that's only 4. Those are the 4 that come to mind.
It's top 4.
Yeah.
We go 1 under. Here. Yeah, man.
But I remember growing up, like, I thought Phil Collins was super lame, and I would always like talk smack about him, like, because he
to his face.
At that point, he was doing like more soft rock or like adult contemporary stuff back in the 80s and 90s. But I remember I was talking smack about him, and one of our band instructors was like, "Dude, you're an idiot. Phil Collins is awesome. Listen to this." And like, he gave me some early Genesis, and it blew my mind because he's a master drummer.
Was this guy older than you?
Yeah.
He's
a band instructor.
He was a fucking adult, and he said you were a fucking idiot?
Yeah.
Damn.
He was right.
You should have beat his ass.
Because Phil Collins is like one of the best drummers of all time.
Yeah.
And like the early Genesis is like crazy. The stuff he was doing was insane.
I have a question for you. Do you want to call this person out on the podcast or no?
No.
Okay. No call outs, guys. I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean,
you're a fan, right?
Oh yeah, like some people have like said like, oh, he ruined like Tarzan and the sequel, and I'm like, dude, I feel like that's what made that movie so good.
That's another thing,
in my opinion.
He's a master composer.
Yeah.
But
not of disguise.
The score was really good.
Right. Yeah.
He did. What was the other one? Brother Bear.
Him and Elton John were like legit for the longest time, like the masters of animated stuff. As far as like either if it was Disney or like other studios, they would like get those two if they wanted like a huge score. And even though like Tarzan, it wasn't as profitable as like some of the earlier movies they had in the Disney Renaissance. Like the soundtracks have always been really good for like those animated films, and it's because they get like great people like Phil Collins.
But I'll specifically recommend the Genesis album Duke from 1981. It's my favorite, and it's like right in the sweet spot of the weird early stuff and like the pop stuff that came later. I love it. So highly recommended.
What's your like favorite album of all time?
Smashing Pumpkins, Melancholy, and The Infinite Sadness.
There you have it.
Yep. But Duke is right up there too. It's great. The drumming is awesome on it. Like, great album. Buy it at the store or stream it for free.
You can buy it at the store. So you were talking about obviously Beatles and then you said like Dream Theater and stuff. Like, are they probably like the fourth out of all those bands as far as like probably because they've been around so long and like their stuff has declined in your opinion? So
not the shit on around making albums, right. But it's like it's been more of the same for 20 years.
Yeah, enough's enough. I can't say that I'm like the biggest Dream Theater fan, but I don't dislike him. It's just I didn't know him until you guys had talked about him and stuff. So I really only have like one full album I've listened to under my belt, and I've heard stuff here and there. But Beatles and Genesis and Smashing Pumpkins are solid choices for sure.
Hey, Rage Against the Machine.
Oh, is that top 5?
Yeah, that'll probably round out my top 5.
There you go.
So you have it.
Rage. Is that Zach De La Roach or whatever? Mm-hmm. Or Roach? I don't know how you say it.
Roca?
Roca. That's
Rocha?
Neither. Zach De La Broach. My Baroach. I don't know. If I had a top 5, I'd have to say like Gorillaz would be in there for me for sure. I don't know. I'm more of like somebody that like picks out of stuff instead of like full albums, but Gorillaz is probably the only band that I've listened to all their albums all the way through.
Nice.
And it's consistently good.
No Venga Boys?
If you've heard one, you've heard them all. And if you're a Six Flags fan, you've heard it multiple occasions. So.
What about Daft Punk?
That's another one. Yeah, I think I would have to say Daft Punk as well for sure.
Nice.
Honestly, like I didn't really have a recommendation for this week. Like I was gonna say like because I just watched Kingsman again, but I've already fucking nominated Kingsman, so that's like how that's my life essentially. I watch Kingsman and wait for another Kingsman fucking movie to come out, which they did come out with the Kingsman, but
the Kingsman,
but it's like I don't know. That's the reason why we're getting rid of this segment. Matt has a ton of recommendations, and I almost always never do. So I feel like I usually like hit it pretty well with the news, but yeah, the recommendations to this nation.
Farewell.
Our state.
To a fine city.
You had such a good last one, though, honestly. It also included a list. I'll have to come up with like an actual top 5 list because like I said, I never really thought about it because it's hard for me to do lists too because especially for movies, it's like I watch so much. We watch stuff, so it changes. Anyway, so I guess that's the end for this for now. For the foreseeable future, if you guys have any ideas for a new segment, send them our way. We'll ignore it.
Sounds good. Throw it in the trash.
No, we'll definitely take it into consideration because, So you ready for this? Weird watches. Don't sue us. What? I like how we have 2 different ways of saying it. One is which week, essentially, and ripping off of weird science. Anyway, so this is your show here, pretty much. Like we've just entered into the Matt Zone.
Yeah, I don't know how I heard about this, but when I did, it's always something I wanted to check out. Just being a big fan of Bill and Ted, so.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Finally did it, and we did it anyway.
We did. Got the Wild Stallions pen right here.
Nice.
And the fucking Lonnie pen. Hey Lonnie, get the fuck out of there. He like turned into a fucking little rat. Get the fuck out of there.
So weird.
He's like, So, this show, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures, this is so confusing because there's Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, the movie. Then there's Excellent Adventures, the show, but there's also a cartoon show called the exact same fucking thing.
Which I do remember watching that back in the day.
Which originally it was voiced by Keanu Reeves and
Alex Winter.
Yeah, Alex Winter and George Carlin. But then they said, that would be confusing if we had different people voicing the cartoon from the show that they were coming out with. So they fucking fired him and got these fucking jokers from the show.
That's stupid.
Yeah. So for the second season, they essentially had Bill and Ted's, Excellent Adventures cartoon with these guys voicing the characters. Which
I didn't know that.
Was a fucking horrible idea. So like this is like, it's a live action TV show of pretty much Bill and Ted continuing their journeys and stuff like that, which isn't a bad premise in my idea. I thought that was like, it was, this could work as a show, but
I agree.
Not with these actors. So obviously based on the film and stuff like that.
So I didn't do any research. I watched it and then I didn't do any research, but did they make, this was the pilot, did they make any more episodes, or this was...
No, yeah, this was actually the only thing that never aired was the pilot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it actually aired?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize.
But
for one season?
Yeah. They only have like 8 episodes, and I think one includes the pilot, which we watched, which is a supposed 2-parter that never has an ending. Because I looked it up, and they literally do this pilot, and then the actual show is like kind of a different, like they have an actual intro and stuff. And yeah, it's like, okay. Because this one starts off and it's like almost filmed like a movie where they're like, there's no intro at all. It's just, it starts off with Rufus talking to people in the church of Bill and Ted. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay. So, yeah.
So what'd you think? You weren't a fan of the actors?
I thought the biggest problem was like, I forget who it was here. It was like Bill and Ted both just sound and act exactly like Ted. So like it's literally like having 2 of the exact same people, whereas like in the original movie and sequels and stuff, like Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter were able to like have different enough personalities, even though they were very similar. It was like they're also like mean-spirited in this show.
Yeah.
Which is like something that Bill and Ted aren't.
I know.
They're like really nice people. Like they're like one of the original duos as far as like, this kind of that kind of looks like Spenny. But like that was my biggest thing too, and like the guy playing like George Carlin or playing Rufus doesn't really seem to give a shit.
Yeah, it was pretty weak.
Like, he's, like, laid back as hell or whatever. Or isn't as laid back. That's the problem. He's always like, there's an issue. And it's like, with George Carlin, he's just like, you guys need to get this done. But he's, like, pretty chill. So, because all those people are, like, leading the life of Bill and Ted, which is, like, a chill lifestyle. So it's like,
yeah, I didn't hate the guys.
They did say bitch in this, which was weird. Life was a bitch for Bill and Ted, and I'm like, isn't this a kid's show? But yeah, like you were saying, you didn't hate. I didn't hate him either.
It makes you appreciate like how good of casting Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter were. Like, it's like,
yeah, people like
they're perfect.
Shit on Keanu Reeves and stuff for him being kind of like the same shit all the time, but like, I feel like, I mean, obviously, the guys playing Bill and Ted here couldn't replicate what they did, so obviously, not anybody can do it. I mean, I'm sure other people could have done it, but, like, at this point, if they really wanted to make a TV show and they were able to get the voices for Bill and Ted, like Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter and George Carlin, how much more would it have been to actually pay them to be in a show? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, if they're able to get the voices at that point, because this is before they blew up, so...
Yeah.
In my opinion. But... I mean, this show is very, like, cheap anyway. There's a part where, like, somebody gets squashed and, like, the person that gets held up is literally, like, it's like a drawing that a kid did.
And I thought that was really stupid until I realized that they actually went into the comic book.
Which makes no sense.
It makes no sense, but it's cool. Like, I like that part about it because, like, in the first movie, they time travel. In the second movie, they die and go to hell. So, like, why couldn't they go into, like... I think that's the coolest premise for a show. Like, basically, they can enter any world.
Right, but it's not something that was ever established, which would kind of piss me off.
It's like, new, but...
Like, I think that was probably one of the only things about this that was, like, an interesting thing that they could have done. Like, if they had actually had, like, a show that wasn't shit. Or, like, for sequels or something like that. But, like, it was very, like... It just happened, and it was like, okay, like... There was a part where the dude asks, like, because they need money because they fucked up their amp for no reason. Like, the dude, like, bought them a new one, like, literally just, like, for Christmas, and then it blew up, and it's like, if it was brand new, how's it their fault? Like, it shouldn't blow up no matter what.
Because they were rocking too hard.
Yeah,
I love how their band is just them soloing at the same time. Like,
well, it's like, yeah, they sound like shit. But it's like, that's what Bill and Ted was before, like, the second movie. So this takes place, like, after the first film. But, like, the guy asks if they can essentially carry 200 pounds of manure. 100 pounds on each shoulder. And I'm like, where the fuck are you going to find somebody to do that IRL? He's like, I'm actually looking to throw people's backs out.
It's not ergonomic.
But this is one of the first points when I was kind of like a little bit like, dude, this sucks, is when he asked one of them to take her daughter to the dance, and they're like, man, she's gross.
Yep.
And I'm like, these are not Bill and Ted.
Yeah, they betrayed the characters at that moment.
Like, as soon as that happened, I was like, okay, this sucks. But I feel like a lot of other people in this, like the person that played Missy was completely fine. Like, one of their dads, he was fine. Like, everybody else in this show, I felt like was perfectly fine. It was just, and not like I hated, like I said, these people. It was just like you said, it was like the characters were portrayed, and it's like, that's really what these movies have going for them, is Bill and Ted. I mean, it's the fucking name of every movie, Bill and Ted, this and that. So if they're not, you know,
yeah,
I would probably, like, if I had seen this after I saw the movie, like when I was younger, I might have been like more forgiving on it. But after seeing like Bogus, you know, Journey and Face the Music, like all this extra Bill and Ted content, I'm like, nah.
I thought it was good enough. Like, I'd like to see more of it, just because it's a good enough premise. And I mean, it had some laughs in it. There was one line that cracked me up. They were like, his life was saved by life-saving lead.
I think I wasn't like paying attention at that point.
Yeah, and
I wrote a bunch of notes here, like just on the way through the thing, but it was like just random shit as usual.
Yeah, I mean, they basically go into a comic book.
Yeah, which it's not really
hijinks.
It's not really like shown that that's the case until like the last 5 minutes of the fucking show. It's like they wrap this thing to fix the booth around the. It's like, do I even give a fuck to talk more about this, to explain what happened?
It's not worth it.
Jesus.
So it sounds like I liked it a little bit more than you, but I think we can both agree.
Just a little bit.
It's not the best.
Yeah.
Should have been so much better.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is like there was like the actual like what's it called? Like here could have been something awesome, just executed pretty bad, and like the people playing Bill, Ted, and Rufus weren't great. And like, yeah, but like I agree. I like the idea of like them having more ways to like go somewhere with like besides just history. Not that there would be any reason to play that out, because you could go anywhere in history, but like the idea of adding like you can go into fictional stuff, or you could even go into space or whatever. Like all that's like legit and like a great idea. It's just the idea was wasted on this show, and since the show was so poorly received and bad, they like probably were like, we're not doing that for Bill and Ted in the actual movie.
Yep.
So, yeah, they're dude wearing a bulletproof vest, which I was kind of like, okay.
Life-saving lead. It's
like, I had to look this up because I was like, was there an actual bulletproof vest back then?
Oh, I don't know.
There was, apparently. Apparently, like, the people started working on bulletproof, like, shit back in the 1800s, because I, like, looked this up because I was, like, looking for any reason to try to fucking kill this thing. But yeah, the whole thing is, like, the one chick. They get, like, some random chick that comes back with them, and she's, like, black and white. And I was like, that makes no fucking sense. Like, because, like, they go into a thing and they're all black and white, but then when they come back, only she's black and white. And I was like, what?
Well, it makes no sense that they go to hell.
Wait, how so? Because they're nice people?
Well, because it's...
They get killed. What do you mean?
Oh, yeah.
You mean because they're not
as a black and white character coming out of a...
No, not even fucking close.
Why not?
Because fucking if you die...
It's a fictional realm. They're both fictional realms.
How?
How are they not?
How are they? You didn't answer my question.
Just, that's a fact. It's not a question. It's a statement of fact.
In your opinion.
Well, that's true.
Oh. No, I think that just in like... Yeah, I guess that's true. Like, but at the same time, like they've already established in the first movie that like... Well, no, it wasn't in the first movie. I guess it was the second movie that like... Heaven and hell exist, right?
Yeah.
But like... Jesus Christ. Fuck that movie. Yeah, I guess I never really thought about it like that. Where like...
That part didn't bother me at all. I actually thought it was cool because it's like it sets up a good premise where they can enter any media.
Well, no, that's not the problem. The problem is like why if they both went into like an area and like everything's black and white and they came back, only they went back to being color. I guess maybe because that character has always been black and white. Is that kind of how it is?
Yeah.
Okay. No. Don't watch it. It's a bad show, in my opinion. Matt liked it more than I did. You'll actually watch this again?
No.
Okay. Okay, well. Interesting. So, weekly topic. What are we talking about now?
Universal Soldier, Day of Reckoning.
Yes. So, I guess I'll go ahead through some history here for this. Universal Soldier, Day of Reckoning is a 2012 American science fiction horror action film. 3-4. It's like, what?
Direct to video.
Yeah. Co-written, co-edited, and directed by John Hyams. The film stars Scott Adkins with Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren, who both reprise their roles from the first film alongside Andrei Arlovski, who also stars. It's the 6th and final installment, for now, in the Universal Soldier film series. So... Yep.
But it's really the third sequel because, like, this is a weird franchise because there's 3 different sets of sequels.
Yeah, that's super weird, just like Halloween.
Yeah.
And, like, all these other...
Well, I guess it's becoming more normal
all
now.
these other shitty fucking movies that we watched.
Because there was the original movie, which is like a popcorn...
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was directed by the same guys that did Stargate and Independence Day.
Right, yeah. It actually had some thought behind it.
Which is fine.
I agree, yeah.
Then there was a sequel that I never saw with Goldberg.
Like, it was the next one after that?
And those both came out in theaters, and all the rest after that were direct to video. Then there was Universal Soldier 2 and 3, which had no one from the original cast.
This is like Pinhead shit over here.
And then there were 2 sequels that brought back Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I think the one before that, didn't it have both Lundgren and Van Damme
it was
in it?
called like Regeneration or something like that, which
bullshit.
is also really good.
Yeah. Also, what the fuck are you smoking?
So I'm guessing you weren't a fan of this one?
We'll get into it.
It's just setting the table. Like, I think this is one of like the best movies of this century. Like, I love this movie. I think it's awesome.
You're fucking with me, aren't you?
No, not at all. I'm dead serious.
I watched it anyway.
How could you not like this movie? It's got everything.
So let's just go through the notes here. So yeah, at the beginning of this movie, there's like a hashtag home invasion right off the bat.
Yeah. But it's done like it's very intense because it's all first person.
Yeah, that was the most annoying shit in this movie for me, was the first person crap.
How come?
It's just annoying. I was like, when are we going to get to an actual movie here? This sucks. Anytime that first person is a movie, for the most part, it's just a gimmick. Like,
I don't think so at all. I thought it made it way more intense. And like in this one, they actually put in blinks. Did you notice that? So you can actually see like blinking?
Yeah, it was like every second.
Yeah.
So the dude's like literally blinking his eyes all the time. I'm like... At first I thought it was blinks, and I'm like, no, this is just some bullshit effect they put in to like annoy the fuck out of me.
How often do you blink? You're like, I only blink
not every second. I'm not like like what the fuck? I'm like going through a fucking house looking for bad guys, and instead of keeping my eyes peeled, I'm like, I'll see him better. Fucking half the time I'm out here, my eyes are closed.
Watch the tape.
Watch the tape.
I think you blink way more often.
Well, I know I blink way more often than I think I do. I just don't do it so frequently that if somebody's looking at my eyes, they'd be like, okay, am I having a stroke right now? Like, what the fuck's going on? Let's get on to the part where the dude is like getting his ass beat with a fucking crowbar like 800 times before he goes down for the final count. It's like, Good lord, man. That was pretty much an ass whipping, but
that's nothing compared to you get to see his wife and daughter get their heads blown off execution style. It's like,
they cut away from like,
not messing around.
They cut away from the girl before she dies, before she gets shot, but I was watching the version that was like online. I'm assuming the only version that's NC-17 is the Blu-ray, which I'm assuming you watched. Right?
Oh, I didn't realize there were different versions.
Yeah.
I mean, it cuts away right when they shoot.
Oh, okay. I was going to say the NC-17 version apparently has like way more stuff in it.
Really?
Yeah. So maybe that's the version you watched because I don't know.
I watched the Blu-ray.
Yeah, maybe there'll be some differences here then when we talk about stuff.
Yeah. But I mean, when I first saw that sequence and it reveals that Jean-Claude Van Damme is now evil, like my mind was blown and it was so intense. Like I was along for the ride. At that
it's like I don't know anything about this other than I've heard of the first movie. So like to me, it was like I have no history with this franchise. So I was like,
honestly, I've seen the first one and it doesn't matter. This movie stands.
But like, why would I care then if Jean-Claude Van Damme was a bad guy?
Well, it's because you know Jean-Claude Van Damme and he's always.
I mean, he was in Expendables as a bad guy, and that was awesome.
That's true.
So I wasn't like shocked. I was like, okay, this is cool. I mean, it
came out the same year. He had a good year.
Why didn't we watch that one?
Because it's not as good as Universal Soldier: Day of Reckoning.
Bullshit, dude. So, okay, I'm not gonna even go over this part because this is like I already talked about his fucking first person bullshit.
So
okay,
this movie is like it's an art movie, and it's very weird. But like I think they were trying to go for like a 2001: A Space Odyssey feel.
Yeah, there was definitely like something they were going for here for sure. Like I give it that for sure.
That's what I appreciated the most about it.
I just feel like it fails completely.
I think it succeeds 100%. Like it's a low budget movie for sure. Like there's no
really.
There's no question about that. It was made for $8 million, but like to me it looks better than $80 million movies.
You're fucking with me,
I'm
aren't
dead
you?
serious. I think this is a masterpiece. Like
this is probably like one of the worst movies we've watched on this podcast, in my opinion.
Well,
but
agree to disagree.
That's true.
Because I mean, not only is it a kick-ass action movie, but it's also a horror movie. It's like
I mean, I will say like honestly, I have a note on here at some point that says like the last 30 minutes of this movie are the only good part of this film, in my opinion. But it's because the action is awesome. Fucking really good.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but like in my opinion, like I also have a note that says like Scott Adkins, Dolph Lundgren, and Jean-Claude Van Damme were completely wasted in this film. Like they deserve way better than this, in my opinion. Like I thought that like in my opinion, like that's why
to me, I think this is their finest hour.
Damn.
Like I think they're so awesome in this movie. I mean, Dolph Lundgren's not in it that much.
Yeah, he's in like 2 or 3 scenes.
But he's awesome in it. Like it's
like the problem for me is like the last little bit of action doesn't make up for the rest of the bullshit in this film.
I mean, there's some bullshit. There's some trippy.
There's some bullshit,
but it's bullshit that I think is awesome. Like, it's a unique experience watching this movie.
That's a word for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so what'd you think of Scott Adkins? Because this was the first time I'd ever seen. Like, I never had heard of him before until I watched this movie, and I was like, dude, this is my new favorite actor.
I thought he was fine. I just thought like the shit they gave him was like not the greatest. Like I thought the plot was like super convoluted and shit. So like. To me, like...
It is.
He probably would have been better served if it was, like, a straightforward movie, like Walking Tall or something. Because, like... I won't say, like, obviously, like, any... You know, in my opinion, like, the last thing to fail in any of these kinds of movies is like the actors, and I definitely don't feel like if you're an action star you can't act, because I think Jean-Claude Van Damme's awesome. I think Arnold's great. I think Dolph Lundgren is great, and Dolph Lundgren is like a fucking like smart man. Like he's like one of the smartest. He's you know what I mean? Like he's like has a degree and all that shit. I didn't really know what to think about Scott Adkins because I think this is the only film I've ever seen him in where he's like he's like the lead. Mm-hmm. And like it makes sense for how his character acts to be completely like no emotion for the most part. Which that wasn't even like an issue with me, like with it and stuff. It was just, I think he's fine. Like I said, like they were fine for what they had to work with.
His martial arts are like top notch.
Yeah, but it's like that was the only part when he was doing shit that I liked, which was like legit. But like I said, it kind of sucked because I wish that there was like more frequency of it, because it happens, but like it doesn't happen as often as you would think for an action film. Because this movie, how long is this movie?
It's about 2 hours.
Yeah, it's like about 2 hours long, and like most of the main stuff happens besides like a few small things here and there. Doesn't really happen till like the end of the film. Not counting, of course, like the ending that was like tacked on at the end, like after like the epilogue of the film. Mm-hmm. So I'll say like I would definitely like be totally fine to like see him in future stuff. Like I think he's definitely like a guy that's, I mean, he's starting to get like more roles and stuff. Like he's going to be in John Wick 4 and stuff. Yeah. Like you can't deny his like action abilities.
Yeah.
And like I see him like along the lines of like Tony Jaa and stuff like that with like, he's great.
He's done a couple movies with Tony Jaa.
But it's like one of those things where like the movies he's in are like this is like in a Walmart bin for like $5 kind of shit, in my opinion. But
from a budget standpoint, but not from a quality standpoint, in my opinion.
I think like I'm surprised this movie cost as much as it did for what you see on screen. Like I think a lot of the sets look really cheap, but like the one that sticks out in my mind a lot is the one where he goes to confront some dude and it turns out to be like his clone, and then they're in some random shack. But that's also just like, whatever. Like it wasn't.
The cave at the end is like right out of Star Trek Voyager.
Yeah, it's not good. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's like that. It's not. I guess that doesn't really matter with a movie like this. It's just for me, there's only a certain amount of rating I can give a movie like this if it doesn't try more than this. And I don't know. Like I feel like they did try something, but I felt like a lot of it was screwed up by like the way it was shot. In my opinion, it was just, I don't know, all over the place. But I liked like I said, like the action and stuff. It was just this Luke Devereaux character, Jean-Claude Van Damme's been in like some of the previous films or whatever. Mm-hmm. It looks like.
Yeah, he's the hero, and Dolph Lundgren. He's like the good Universal Soldier, and Dolph Lundgren's the bad.
Is the Universal bad, Soldier. But in this film, they're like, united.
They get teamed up. He basically creates like a separate sect of Universal Soldiers that like go rogue.
Yeah.
From the organization and become evil.
I think I probably would have like liked this more if like more stuff was maybe explained, because it was like you do get it as the film goes on, but like literally you kind of don't really get everything. And
that's what I liked about it. It makes you think. Like it doesn't spoon feed you.
You have to go online to find out what happened in the film.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
Disagree.
Well, that's fine. If you disagree with facts.
I didn't have to go online.
Well, you've watched the fucking previous ones. You know that there's like a UNICEF of dudes. I'm like, I have no clue what's going on.
It doesn't matter. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter.
I agree. Spoon does not matter.
It's still real to me. What they all did to their bodies.
Their bodies. He's like, I'm like, why? I did love the plumber works for a place with the number is 555 pipe. I was like,
I didn't notice that.
What?
That's awesome.
It's like on the side of the truck, 555 pipe. Oh man.
He wasn't working for the Scapini brothers or whatever.
Call every plumber in town, and the first one that gets here gets the job. Yeah, it was nice to see Dolph Lundgren, because I'm always a fan to see him and Jean-Claude for sure. That was legit.
Yeah, that's when, I mean, this movie starts off like with that opening sequence, and it's not messing around, but then it ups the ante when like he goes into the strip club and just starts laying waste to everyone with the
like
shotgun.
The sleeper agent.
Yeah. But Dolph Lundgren is so awesome in that scene. He's like,
yeah.
But like, the violence in this movie is they tried to make it seem totally real. Like it's not cartoonish at all. It's like horrifying. Like you don't see squibs on like naked people like that, and like because everyone's naked in the strip club and getting blasted with shotguns, and it looks totally real and like horrifying. So this movie is like hard sci-fi, horror, and action, which are like, to me, blend together to make like the ultimate movie.
I feel I like the effects.
Yeah. There was some CG, but a lot of it's real squibs, which I always appreciate and looks so awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good stuff. I don't know what else to say. I'm like... So we're going to the strip joint. The flashing lights, like, I literally thought it was going to be like one time in this film, but like there's like 20 minutes in this film that I literally can't watch.
Yeah, it's really intense. Like it almost made me sick watching it, which that's when I texted you. I was like, oh crap, this might be a problem. Like this is...
Well, it doesn't pop up until like they're like...
makes you physically sick.
They're trying to like brainwash somebody, and like then like randomly Jean-Claude Van Damme's character is there, and that's when it's like doing the brainwashing stuff. I just couldn't really take part in those scenes, so I literally just fast forwarded through them. Yeah, but it go on for fucking ever.
Like, I had to look. I couldn't look at the screen.
It's like cicada noises with fucking super. It's like super fast flashing lights, and it's like, dude, this is totally unnecessary. Like,
I just think it adds to the unique mixture of this movie.
Of shit.
No.
Good comeback. No. I mean, you think that was a great part? I mean, I literally...
I've never seen anything...
15 minutes out of this film that someone can't watch if they're adverse to fucking flashing lights.
I can't argue with that.
I feel like that could have been done way differently, and it would have been way better. Like, as far as, like... Because I like the idea of, like, Jean-Claude Van Damme, like, either superimposing himself or, like, actually showing up somewhere to, like, you know... try to get into somebody's head and be like, you know, I'm brainwashing it. But it's like, as soon as they started doing like the fucking super flashing lights where you could barely even see that he was there, it's like I understand the effect is like, you know, it's very out of control, but it's like, dude, come on. Like, there's a ton of people that couldn't fucking watch this part of the movie. Like, I don't know. Just kind of, for me, I feel like it ruins that because the, you know, the effect was essentially just ignored for certain people. So, like, the people that were trying to, like, you know, like, you're trying to get them into this part of the movie and stuff, but you can't because they essentially have to fast forward it or look away.
Yeah, I definitely understand that, but I just appreciate an effect that's so, like, has that much of an intense effect. Like, again, I think this movie is just trying to, like, go as far over the top as possible. From like a style standpoint and violence and everything else. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we'll ever be further apart on a film than
that sucks, man.
This is probably like the worst fucking film we've ever watched on this podcast.
That's crazy.
In my opinion.
I couldn't disagree more. I think it's rad.
Yeah. But I mean, you're also like a huge action guy, and like for me, if like action doesn't have a reason, I don't really think it's worth watching. So, sometimes, like I like Expendables, but that's the whole hook. The whole thing for that is that you get to see all these awesome action stars that we grew up with, like teaming up. In this film, you get like two of them and like a new guy I've never heard of before, and I kind of just have to like he holds the whole movie on his shoulders, and I have to like hope that it gets good at some point. In my opinion, so. There was, they do have, like, good, like, I have a thing here that says 1 hour into this 1 hour and 53-minute film, and we finally get to see the main character show off his stuff. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's all been building to that moment. And that's what I think. That's what makes it so. When he are you talking about the sporting goods store fight?
No, when they fight in the fucking bathroom, and he cuts off the dude's fucking foot with an axe, and the dude cuts his fingers off. But they like grow back because that's when you find out that he's like a super soldier or like a whatever the fuck he is. Soldier. Yeah, they don't really, they kind of talk about it later in the film, but like it's like small things here and there. Yeah. So
yeah,
he has a brother and a clone or a clone. I don't know. It's fucking Metal Gear Solid ripoff over here.
Yeah, there's
which is
some clone
a
stuff
legit
going on in this
idea.
movie.
It's like the idea of like clones and stuff like that is like, obviously been around since Metal Gear and stuff before that. But like, that, as far as that whole soldier being cloned because he was like the best and stuff like that. But yeah, I was like, okay, this is kind of an interesting thing. But,
yeah. That's the stuff I appreciate in this movie. Like it could be a mindless movie, but like there's some really cool, weird ideas in it. Just like set it apart from.
Yeah.
Just
I think they could just cut out a lot of this film, personally, in my opinion. Like have more of the story part of it, but like, cause I didn't give a fuck. Like the family was like something that was like definitely a hook, but it's like. I don't want to say that like you cut something like that out because obviously that's like a revenge thing. You want to like you have a hook to get into that, but it was like it's just a bunch of different things going on that I was kind of like I don't know. I can't really put a finger on why I would rather have one or the other, but I would like to hear. I mean, like I was most interested in the last like 20 minutes of this film when he actually like. He talks to the scientists and they like talk about like, oh, you actually didn't have memories, so we made them up. And it's like, okay, well, that's legit. I've heard that before, but it's like interesting that like there's something in this. I kind of wish that they had like expanded on that more, but that's my opinion on that, I guess.
Okay.
And apparently he's like a newborn. He was like literally only been around like that version.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
He was born a full-grown man.
Yeah, I saw somebody being genetically engineered back there, but I thought it was just the boss's kid. He jumped out and it was a full-grown man.
Nice.
I was also like, he wasn't born a full-grown man. He was cloned or created. He like didn't come out of a woman's womb unless it was like Ginormica fucking hatched him. It's like
Ginormica.
I don't know. I'm just like a fucking 50s like. One of those old films where the woman's like 50 feet tall. It's like, she'd be dead. Dude, the fucking like machine they have that's literally like a machine you use for machining. Or a drill you use for machining. And they use it to drill into his head. I was like, you really don't have like any medical things in here? I had
That's
a
a
note.
total gore fest because that's right after like they rip the thing out of the back of his neck and then they're drilling into his skull.
Yeah,
and
he tells the lady to like cut it out of the back of his neck or whatever. But like I had like a note talking about how when they go to the lab, it's like they enter the Sci-Fi Channel or porn movie quality lab set because they had like random test tubes and other shit, and I was like, ah.
I think that's where the low budget really shows is like the last scene of the movie in the caves and stuff.
I mean, it's definitely one of those things where like sci-fi and fantasy take the most amount of money to look convincing. So like, it's what it is. It's not like I would be like, if the movie was like intriguing like Day of the Dead, for me personally, I would be like, I don't give a fuck what it looks like, but like, I guess that movie had good stuff anyway, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's more about, like, for me, like, the story and hooking me and all that kind of stuff and all that, which this movie has, like, great action. It was just really the only thing that really, like, got me, like, excited. The one thing, like, kind of, though, that I did look up about this is, like, at the end of this movie when, like, Scott Adkins and Jean-Claude Van Damme have their final face-off. That was supposed to be like a way bigger scene, but like Scott Adkins had just like fucked up his like leg, so like literally they couldn't do anything.
Yeah,
it was like, damn, that sucks, dude. Because it was a good fight, but it was very like, especially when you compared it to like the rest of the film with like him fighting the sleeper agent and like him fighting like his way through the thing, and even like the fight with Dolph Lundgren. It was definitely not like the best thing in the film. Yeah, it was very like, there was like something at the end that was like that I kind of liked, where it was like when Jean-Claude Van Damme just gives up and he's like, there'll always be another John, and it's like a passing of the torch, which is like essentially what this film was. Is like, oh, that's cool. I think like to me like the last little bit of this film was when it really started, making me interested, but like sadly like I really didn't care about the stuff with like the stripper and the person like he knew before, like all that kind of stuff, and like even like his family gets killed, and like I said, I don't want to say like fuck the family, but like literally had zero time to get to know them before they fucking get killed. So it's like there's no investment for someone that just started watching the film other than I want to kill these people because they killed these people that we just saw get killed. So I don't know, I hate to like, I don't know, I know I was harsh on it before and I hate to say shit about it, but that's just kind of like, I don't know, like this movie has like good ideas and good stuff about it. Like, it's definitely not like a film where I'd be like, never watch, any of these films. But I don't know. Yeah,
I thought the fight with Jean-Claude was the thing I liked about it is they would like take turns macheteing each other. Like, I've never seen that in a movie where like stick the machete in
and they would
like pull it out and stick
shit.
it in the other dude. It's like I said, the violence in this movie is off the charts.
I mean, that's legit because they like the violence was good because it was entertaining and stuff. I mean, in an action film, if you don't have action or violence that's entertaining, you might as well not even have a fucking movie. But, like, when John, which is, what's his name? His character, Scott Adkins' character, he grabs the fucking machete's, like, blade, and, like, Jean-Claude pulls it back. And when he does it, he's like surprised. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Like, you didn't know that was going to happen? That part made me kind of laugh because I was like, I don't know if that was supposed to be in the fucking film.
So real quick to go back, like my favorite scene in this movie is the sporting goods store.
Oh yeah, that's by far like the best scene in this film.
And that's when he realizes like he has
essentially like
basically.
It's the one like part in all these like Deus Ex Machina films where like essentially the person like turns into a super soldier that they were all along, and they remember like in fucking like Ultraviolet and all these other fucking films where it's like the dude's literally just like something happens like Neo and he's just like doing all this shit with a bat, and like
it's a baseball bat fight, which I always appreciated.
Very cool.
Baseball bat fight.
Baseball bat
fight. But it's so awesome, and it's like, you can tell they're really just going at it.
They're throwing like prop weights at each other, but they have
bowling balls.
They have like
punching bowling balls.
Sound effects where it's like clunk. It doesn't sound fake in my opinion. I thought that like the sound effects were great.
The sound design and like score in this movie is inspired to me because like it's a horror movie score basically. It's just like weird droning and like off-putting noises like the cicada sounds and stuff. I think that's really cool. Like,
that stuff definitely was legit. I did have, like, a note that was, like, there are a couple parts in this film where, like, I guess I kind of wish that there was an actual, like, score where it's, like, dead silent for way more than it should be. Like, when they're just driving around in a car and just talking. And I'm like, but, it's whatever.
What'd you think of the truck chase?
I thought it was, like, okay. It's definitely no fucking Unhinged.
Yeah, it's no Unhinged.
Unhinged was like set the bar for actual like tension in a chase for me. Like this, I was like,
really.
Some of it was like, I don't know, it was just, it felt really slow. I was like,
yeah, because it's like a service truck. It's like slow vehicles chasing each other.
It's just, I don't know. That part was kind of like not great in my opinion. It wasn't like horrible, but it was just awesome. Not interesting. But like. once they finally stop, that's when like the baseball, like the sports thing, that's when it actually starts. But fucking yeah, we gotta. I don't think we've talked about this yet, but like at the end of this film, randomly for no fucking reason, Van Damme has the top of his head completely cut, like painted white, and like right here is like the bottom of his head is black, so he's like a fucking reversed fucking Two-Face or something.
It's like it looks like a golf ball sitting on a tee.
And like if I was fucking Scott Adkins, I would have been like, what the fuck? Why are you painted up like that? Like, it was so random, and like obviously it doesn't have to be explained, but it's just so random. I was like, why is this?
I just thought it was like so awesome and like intimidating. I thought it looked really cool. It's never seen anything like it.
Yeah, I wonder why. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't think it was stupid. I just thought it was kind of like, why?
So what did you think of Jean-Claude in this movie?
I mean, I love Jean-Claude and everything, so
he's always the best, but
yeah.
like you said in Expendables 2, like in this, he plays a great villain.
It's definitely nice.
Expendables 2 is more like he's like a mustache twirling.
Yeah.
And then this one, he's just like...
This one, it's like, I don't even know if you could classify him as a villain. It's kind of like the Metal Gear thing where, like, there are guys that are, like, they've been fucked over by the government and by, like, you know, like, the world, and they're, like, they're wanting to just live for themselves because essentially they're soldiers of fortune that are, like, you know...
Basically keep cloning and creating soldiers to, like, grow the army.
Yeah, it's like Metal Gear, fucking, it's like Karate Kid where there's, like, Kreese and Silver where, like... It's like they have PTSD and like, but like the way they like, kind of like, I guess get past that is by starting their own sect and kind of like having their brothers around them. But like, it's a very like, I don't know, Congo-esque kind of thing because like when one dude, there's a part where like one of the dudes fights another dude and the one dude loses and they all just beat the fuck out of him and kill him, and then fucking Jean-Claude Van Damme shoots him and kills him, and I'm like, okay, damn, dude. It's like literally like a bunch of fucking vultures. Vulturing. Yeah. It was it's almost like these, I don't know, these guys are definitely like, he says they're free, but like he brainwashes them to like do what he wants. It seems like, because that or they're just roid raging. I don't know, because they're always like literally in like 80s fucking get up of like a dude with no shirt on that's roided, and they've got like a fucking, for some reason, like a tactical vest on, and they've got camo on indoors, and they're like sharpening knives, and then a fight starts, and it's like they're like rabid dogs.
Like an army of beefcakes.
It's like they were fighting like dogs.
They turned well, dude, after Scott Adkins gets his skull like drilled into, he turns into a human ape, and because he's literally like
he kills like a random soldier that just comes in once he gets off the table. Like the guy comes in to like put him back on the table and calm him down, and he beats the hell out of, or he like kills the fuck out of him with a hatchet, and then he leaves. He doesn't kill the scientists, so it's like very selective.
It's like he eats the steroids in Duke 3D and like just goes on a killing spree.
Yeah. It was like,
I sent you that picture, but like the moment when a dude kicks him and he grabs his leg and bends it, breaks it backwards in half. I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
That part where the dude, they both go through that, or he goes through that wall that's cut, that's clearly going to, yeah, it's like fake as
I didn't
fuck.
notice that either until you said
Well, I didn't notice it until like I had to rewind it, and when I rewound it, I saw that and I was like, wait a minute, because that's exactly where he had just went through. So he went through it, and then I like rewound it because I had missed something, and I wanted to rewind it and watch it again. Because I was also rewinding it to like laugh at the part where like once the dude dies, he like turns around and like looks right at the camera and is like, and I'm like, what?
But yeah, that part, which you said is your favorite part, is basically he goes on a killing spree, and it's like John Wick before John Wick.
Yeah,
because he's doing like martial arts, gunplay, like.
I mean, I've definitely seen that shit from like Jackie Chan before, but not this violent, obviously. Yeah. Like,
it's awesome.
I would definitely like to see more films, like in my opinion, like that were this violent. There were action films. I just wasn't a fan of like the first like hour of this film with like the story and shit. So like if they would do something where like I was more invested, I probably would have liked this more. But that was my biggest, you know what I mean, like complaint about it. The end of this film though, after he kills the fuck out of Jean-Claude Van Damme, is like some weird like what's it called, like X-Files shit, where you find out that like not only has he been cloned, but like they kill like the FBI agent that like is in this film, and he turns out to be a clone.
Well, they
have a clone of him, yeah,
and they clone.
They replace him with like their version,
right? So they can basically control.
Yeah. So it seems like they're. I read online they were like a synopsis of like after this like to set up his own government and try to like get into the stuff, and it was like, yeah, I mean like I guess you could like think that's what's gonna happen, but it's also one of those things where like, you know, that's like the last thing that happens in this film. So it could also be that they wanted to kill that guy so they could not be prosecuted for fucking going after this one dude. But like the guy seemed to like Jean-Claude Van Damme seemed to be like the dude that like they kind of like set this guy up after Jean-Claude Van Damme. Like he was being used by both sides, it seems like, and then he kills the guy, the one FBI guy that was using him, even though Jean-Claude was kind of as well. I don't know. Jean-Claude seems kind of almost like a misunderstood character, like in this film, because he was also, like I said, he was used by the government as well. But it's like that's the problem with stuff like this is like he never really tried to explain it. He was just like, "Fuck it, let's fight," and I'm like, I mean, I don't know. This guy was so out of control. Maybe nobody could have explained it to him, but it was just like he didn't even try.
That's what I appreciate about this movie and about Jean-Claude Van Damme is like you basically got all that from just his pure acting ability. Like, you know what I mean? Like he barely speaks in this movie, but it allows you to like read all that into the character.
Yeah, I mean, I had to piece it together for sure.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Not necessarily.
So you just want to be spoon-fed all information and not have to think about anything?
No, I just want a movie to make sense and be good.
I think this one does,
but this
and
is
a
total failure for the most part.
I don't think so.
I know you don't. You nominated it. Why would you nominate a shit movie, in your opinion? Unless you wanted to torture me. But I don't think that was the case. So at the end of this film, though, they like bow to him because he's like the new dude. He like took over for Jean-Claude Van Damme. And like so like my question is, do they have any plans to like make a sequel to this or at all, or are they just literally like that's it?
I don't know. I wish they would, but
because it seems like this is like
one.
How you start a franchise, not how it's like the end, in my opinion. Like I was kind of like, what the fuck. I guess maybe they did that for if they ever decide to like do that, but like this movie like fucking did horribly. Like from what I read, it was like you said it was like $8 million to make this film, and it only made like $1 million.
Yeah, I mean, I'd never even heard of it until years after it came out.
Like on DVD or something, you saw it somewhere? Or what?
Well, it was actually this movie. Like they kept talking about it and writing about how awesome it was, and I was like, I'll check this out. And my mind was blown.
They fucking like this film?
Oh yeah.
Wow, dude. That's shocking. I actually don't really listen to their podcast, so I don't really know what their opinions are and stuff. And it's like, obviously, it's an opinion, so.
Well, they're huge action movie fans too, and I think that's also part of it. Is like they don't, you know, back in the '90s, action movies were like the king, but now they're like not as big anymore. And basically, most action movies are now direct to video, which is unfortunate. But at the same time, there's tons of gems out there. You just gotta look for them. And like Scott Adkins has made so many awesome movies, and he's cranking them out like left and right. So
yeah, I think action movies are kind of like something that used to be big.
They've gone the way of the dinosaur.
Yeah, it's kind of like when westerns were huge, and then like Batman came out, like the animated, or not the animated, but the Adam West show, and kind of just killed everything that wasn't Batman. It was also like in color, so it was like, holy fuck, this show's in color. All these other shows are in black and white. But yeah, like, I like action movies. It just, it just takes like, it's like anything, like, it's like, I like horror as well, but like, I don't know. I can't just watch it because it's a certain type of fucking thing. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I would like be interested to watch it, but not just because it's action or not just because it's horror.
Yeah, I think
because there's so many bad horror movies out there, bad action movies that like it's hard for me to spend my time on that.
Yeah.
So
there's no question about that. But to me, I think Scott Adkins is like a successor to Jackie Chan, because Jackie Chan basically created a like genre of movies, like martial arts action movies, and to me, this is like one of the top of that genre.
Cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything else I can say besides what I've already said.
Sorry, you
just spent like the last 30 minutes shitting on a film you like. I don't know. I mean, I guess you would give this a perfect then.
I would give this a 9. I give it a 9.95. I think it's a total masterpiece, a unique action horror sci-fi. It's great. Watch it.
Cool. I will have to say I wouldn't give it that if you've been watching this or if you just tuned in, obviously. But yeah, I give it like a 3.95. But that's just my opinion, obviously. If you agree with Matt more, you know, you'll probably like this film. If you usually agree with me more, you'll not like this film. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, you might like it or you might dislike it. If you disagree, if you agree with me more usually or Matt more, you might like it or dislike it.
We usually agree on most things.
Yeah.
So
it just depends. I mean, everybody's got their own like idea of what they find interesting and what they find not. Like you found it interesting, I found it not interesting. You know what I mean? So it's like one of those things. Like I like Space Jam, you hate it, and like same thing with like Baby Geniuses. It's like everybody has their own opinion.
Baby's Day Out.
Or yeah, sorry. I was confused those. They both have babies.
I've never seen Baby Geniuses. It might be.
I haven't either, actually.
Well, next week.
Baby Geniuses. Baby Geniuses Day Out. They're like, actually. Okay, so we get to do a fun little thing here. I'm gonna have to like turn this so you can't see the numbers. This is always the fun part where Matt picks out the movie. Okay, so let's go 1 through number 20.
Wow, there's 20?
Yeah. Well, there's more than that. These are just the numbers you would pick, and then we would like...
Wow. Let's go with number 9.
Okay. And then what letter? A through D?
B for Bengals.
Okay. Well, we're watching The Equalizer then.
All right. Cool.
So that's Trav's pick, number 9. B.
It just blew my mind.
The Equalizer. What?
Because that was going to be my next pick for Weird Watches, the Equalizer TV show.
Oh, shit. I didn't know there was an Equalizer TV show.
Starring the guy from Wicker Man.
Nick Cage?
The original. Lee. The original Wicker
Christopher
Man.
Lee?
No, the main character. What's his name?
Oh, okay, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
I can't remember his name.
I was like, you're like the guy, the only guy in the film. I'm like, ah. I know what you're talking about, but it's
Edward Woodward.
Yeah, that's right, because we were always like, how the fuck do you say this guy's name? Edward Woodward.
Edward Woodward.
What the fuck
You're telling me there's a guy named Edward Woodward?
Edward Woodward. But yeah, so like we'll be watching that, and then I guess
cool.
We'll just do Weird Watches. Will be that one Justified, because we were gonna do Justified, right. But then I was like Peacemaker to line up with Suicide Squad. So next week, let's see, Weird Watches, and The Equalizer starring Denzel.
Another action movie. Yeah, hell yeah, I'm excited.
But it's got Denzel in it.
Yep.
And he's a great man, from what I heard. So we have anything else to say here? I fucking ruined Matt's day.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's a bummer.
I'm sorry.
I was hoping you'd like it. I thought you would, but
I'm sorry.
I was wrong.
I felt bad. I felt bad watching it because I was just like, God damn it, dude. It's probably how you felt when like we were like we're watching. Well, I didn't pick Suicide Squad, but when I said I liked it, and you were just like, "This is shit," I was like, "Well."
Yeah, I felt
so
bad
two back to backs we've had. You didn't lay into Suicide Squad as much as I laid into this film, though. Because you're a nicer guy.
I laid into Peacemaker.
You're a nicer guy than me, Matt.
That show sucks. Except for the opening credits.
The opening credits makes the whole fucking...
Dude, I agree.
So, I guess I have to apologize because you were nicer.
All right.
So, let's never fight again, Spencer.
I think you're being mean.
I want a hug.
Mean.
That's mean. So that's a forever recommendation, Nation. Kenny versus Spenny.
Yep.
He's starting to put the shows on YouTube on 4K, so you should totally go back and rewatch them or watch them for the first time if you haven't.
Dude, I think momentum's building for the next season.
I agree, dude, because like he keeps like posting stuff about it and like
even today he said something like
people are writing which it was like actually something else obviously, but I think everybody's like I think it's also opened their eyes to like when they went on tour. Yeah, they were like, holy fuck, we have a ton of fans in the United States. And obviously Spenny's down to do it because he needs money. Or so Kenny says. I honestly think a lot of that's like a work. You know, they're working people. But that's what makes it work.
Yeah.
So, definitely. I guess we'll see you next time with The Equalizer and Justified. 2 film titles that could easily be subtitles for the next... Universal Soldier film movies. So, yeah. Do you have anything else to say until next time, brother?
Bye.